all of it. We're going to go from A to Z. So if you would, to kick this off, I want to know a little bit more about you and how things are going for you. So if you use CPAP, if you would, in comments, tell me two things. On a scale, a number, put in a number and a letter. So the number will be the number of years you have completed using CPAP. So I know that people who watch this show, it may be anywhere from 0. There's a lot of people who have actually never, just have started using CPAP and they haven't even made it through the first year. So if that's the case, 0. And then a letter, just like when you were in high school or college, a letter, grade, your machine, your quality of sleep, how much you like the machine. Overall, A, B, C, D, E, or F for failing. If you would, a number and a letter, number of years, and then a grade for how well things are going, your quality of sleep, etc. So please drop that in comments. I want to know how things are going for you. I want to know a little bit more about you, and I'll tell you a little bit more about me. I actually started setting up CPAPs back in 1988. Anything that starts with a 19, you already know it was a long time ago. So that was my first CPAP setup, 1988. We're going to talk just a little bit about that. This isn't going to be a super long video tonight, but I will go back to 1988 in talking about humidification with your CPAP. And Donald Will, 1 year and doing well. Thank you, Donald. That's awesome. And hey, Belty Cat is here. Welcome, Belty. And Sonia's here. Thank you, guys. All right, good. 1A. All right, so if you would, tell me how many years you've completed your in CPAP. 1, there's people probably on here that have been doing it 20 years or more. And then a letter on how well it's going for you. So humidification with CPAP. We're going to get into this. And I've just made myself some notes here so that I'm sure to cover everything that you might be interested in regarding humidification. Why do we need humidification in the first place? Well, that's the way God made us. So humidification is just moisture in the air. It's important that at the alveoli level, the microscopic little air sacs in your lungs, that the air that's coming in is humidified. It's they call it moisturized or conditioned air is the proper terminology. And that air is going to be more efficient at actually getting into the bloodstream when it is humidified. So it's super important that the air is humidified. Well, if you don't use a humidifier, how is that air going to get humidified? Well, God made us with these. We all have one. And also the rest of our upper respiratory system, all the way down to the pharynx. All of this, our sinuses, everything, especially the nose, when the air comes in through your nose, it's going to pick up humidification. It also will be warmed to body temperature. And that's crucial when the air gets all the way down into the alveoli so that the oxygen goes over into the bloodstream and the carbon dioxide can come out of the bloodstream properly and efficiently. Well, using the humidification for your CPAP is really important because the humidifier sort of makes up for where the nose may have to really super compensate for all of this dry air that you're breathing. So I told you I was going to talk about 1988, and I see a lot of comments here. Wow, Belty Cat, 25 years, congratulations. And C or a D, so I see you struggle with this a little bit. 1988, my first CPAP, and all the way up until around 1992, 1993, there was very rarely a heated humidifier on a CPAP. Those old CPAP machines were huge. I mean, I don't even know if you can see it on the screen, but they were approximately this long, the machine. It was just a big, bulky box, and there was nothing to it except it was just a machine that drove air pressure. And then you put sort of a governor on the outside of the box based on the pressure. And the only pressures that we could set it at was 5, 10, 15, or 20. And it was just a little device that we stuck on the end that sort of governed down the air pressure and then hooked it to these CPAP masks back in those days that were truly awful. So it was truly a challenge. Never was there a heated humidifier at all. So the point that I'm making is that you actually can use CPAP without humidification whatsoever. They learned back around 1992, 93 that when the humidifier was in place, that compliance was a whole lot better. So people were able to use their CPAP more and be more compliant because it was more comfortable. You see, if you're breathing all of this dry air with no humidifier, your nose, your upper air respiratory has to do so much more work. It involves more blood flowing through there. It may cause sinus problems, stuffiness, and it even can cause infections to not use the humidifier. So it's important to go ahead and use that humidifier. So, when you are using a humidifier, you really definitely want to use distilled water. I've had a lot of folks say, well, I use sparkling spring water, or maybe you have a super duper filter. Hi, Kimberly. You might have a super duper filter on your home that you feel like, that's really filtering out the water well enough. Actually, there's nothing that can replace, nothing is better than actual distilled water. So when you go to the grocery store, find that gallon jug that actually says distilled, it's gone through the distilling process, which means that there are no minerals in the water. It's only H2O. It's only water. So distilled water is definitely the way to go, regardless of what equipment you have or what you might have been told by folks. If the mineral is still in the water, it's going to probably leave a residue within the humidifier. Super hard to clean, first of all, if you have that mineral residue inside the water chamber. Many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've had many people just have to buy a new chamber because there's so much of that residue in there and you can't really clean it. So if you're not cleaning every bit of that residue, bacteria, mold, and everything else just has a perfect little place to hide from the cleaning that you're doing, and it's not a good thing. So simply use distilled water and you'll be all good. So there is some water too, like if you're traveling or if you just want to have water shipped to your house, we have Aquapap. I don't know if you've heard of that, AQUAPAP water. That's some super good water. They actually make that here in Alabama. And so Aquapap is good too. Now, if back in the day, we did also use, whenever there was no really heated humidifiers on CPAP machines, we used HMEs a lot as heat and moisture exchanger, HME. That is almost like a little piece of foam, and it comes in a plastic deal. It's a little adapter about this big, and you would put that at the bottom of your mask and then hook the hose onto the bottom of the little HME. And what that does is it actually captures your exhaled humidification. It captures it, and then the next time you breathe in, it reproduces it back as humidification or conditioned air each time you breathe. So HMEs are good. For example, when might you want to go without your heated humidifier? I think some people decide to disconnect the heated humidifier at seasonal times, or perhaps when you're going on a trip. If your CPAP machine is this big and half of it is a heated humidifier, the other half of it is a CPAP machine, you can, underneath the bottom, there's a little clip, and you can pull that clip. The whole machine can come apart, and you can go without the heated humidifier. So I've had folks who like to travel without the heated humidifier for two reasons. One, it's not so bulky to travel with the airline, etc. And then two, you don't have to worry about trying to find that distilled water after, let's say, a long flight. You just flew for hours. Also, you had a layover. You're tired. You finally found and made it to the hotel. And now, wow, I forgot to get distilled water. You got to go find a grocery store somewhere nearby. Anybody got an amen on that? And you're in an unfamiliar territory. Finally, you find a grocery store. Well, they don't have distilled water. So it can be a real difficult situation. That's why I would suggest the Aquapap. It's little tiny bottles you can carry with you. But HME also is a solution. Now, the HME device that would connect between your mask and the hose, it is actually something that does not provide the same amount of humidity, not even close, as what a heated humidifier can do. So a heated humidifier is going to get you up to 70, 80, even higher percentages. The factors that affect the amount of humidity that you're getting are the size of the surface area. So if you just imagine your water chamber, it's probably about this much surface area across the top of the water, because the CPAP pressure air flow is just flowing right across the top of the water. So the size of that space is one factor. Also, the speed of the flow is another factor. And then the third factor is the temperature of the water. This is why underneath the water chamber, you always have this little metal, it's almost like a hot plate that's warming up the water. And on your CPAP machine, you're possibly going to have a setting where you can set that at a lower number or a higher number. That's probably if you're using a basic standard tube. If you have a heated hose, then it's a whole different story. The machine will automatically be making that adjustment for you. So how are all you CPAP folks doing out there? I'm seeing a few people commenting, and I appreciate y'all being here. This is awesome. We have a lot of folks here tonight. Thank you guys. If you didn't hear the request, please, you see these comments. If you would, please let me know how many years you have completed doing CPAP. It may be 0, it may be 20, 12, whatever it is. And also that's a number. And then also a letter to tell me how well you think things are going right now. Is it an A, like in high school, you got an A or A plus, or hopefully not an F, but I'd like to know that. And if you would, so please comment a number for the years and a letter for the quality of your equipment and your success and quality of sleep. So, all right. So we were talking about the HME. So that's an option. We were talking about the heated hose. So I wanted to tell you on the heated hose, you'll know if you have a heated hose because at the place where that hose connects into the back of the CPAP machine, there's more than just a hose. There's also a little electronic piece there if you have a heated hose. What a heated hose is going to do is it's going to constantly measure two temperatures. One, the temperature inside of the hose and the temperature inside the room. So we've got those two temperatures being measured. There's something called rainout. If there's a great difference between those two temperatures and there's a lot of humidity inside of the hose and there's a big difference, then those water droplets actually rain inside of the tubing. The water droplets form and drop to inside the tubing. So if you have a dip in that tubing somewhere, let's say you're lying in bed and the tube dips down and then comes back up to the CPAP machine, eventually, if you're having a lot of rain out, that forms almost like a puddle of water down at the lowest point of the tube and can actually impede the pressure that you're getting from your CPAP machine. So it's really important not to allow that to happen. If you, the things you can do is reduce the difference between the two temperatures. So either, now if you're married and you have your wife or your husband, your spouse likes to keep the room really, really cold, then you have a better chance of, unfortunately, of having rain out. But the temperature of the room can be changed. So you could actually raise the temperature of the room to be closer than what the temperature is in the CPAP tubing, or you could reduce the temperature inside the CPAP tubing by making an adjustment. However, if you have a heated hose, the machine is doing it automatically. So ironically, sometimes the heated hose is actually the problem. That's where I was trying to get with all of this. So sometimes it's actually better to go to just a basic standard CPAP tube, connect that up. They're like $7. It's worth a try. Connect that up and then adjust your heated humidifier temperature manually yourself. Once you get it set where you want it to be, it'll be on that setting each time you turn the machine on. So you don't have to do it every single night if this works, but it's okay to turn that down. And like I said, back in 1988, people went without heated humidity all the time. So it's not really going to hurt you. It just hopefully doesn't affect or, make your compliance worse. We want to make your compliance better. That's the goal here, to where you can use it and be successful with it every single night. So changing the temperature either inside the hose or changing the temperature in the room to get those two temperatures closer together is going to reduce the amount of water or rain out in your tubing. And that's super important and hopefully helpful. So, hi, Donald. Donald says, I have loved mine, and let's put that up here. I have loved mine. Thank my wife, and she enjoys it a lot more. Yeah, I've heard that story a few times. Yeah, the snoring can be super, super difficult to to tolerate for spouses. I've seen that. Actually, I believe that CPAP has saved many marriages. Folks who weren't even able to really sleep in the same room, sleeping in separate rooms. It just, there's no blame on that. I mean, you got to get your sleep. And if the noise is too much to be able to sleep, it's completely understandable. But with the CPAP, then it's pretty much a pleasant sound that you're hearing and no snoring. And it's a wonderful thing. So kudos to you, Donald, for doing what you need to do to take care of yourself and your wife. It's very, very kind and sweet. So Miss Kimberly has a question. Let's see what she has to say here. I've been using CPAP since 2008. Can't sleep without it. I have to turn up the temperature of the humidity with the water. Will the water last all night? Oh, okay. Will the water last? It probably will last. If it depends a lot too on the climate that you're in. I'm in South Alabama right now. Already it's beginning to get very humid out here. So if you're in the climates where the humidity is not as high, you're going to probably use more water. If you're in high humidity climates, you'll probably use a little bit less water. But remember, the temperature is one of the leading factors on how much water is being used. So you can always turn it down a little bit. As long as that's still comfortable to you, you can, turn it down a notch or two. But again, if you have a heated hose, there's no ability to make that change. There's one thing that can be done, even with a heated hose. So you see where the hose connects in the back of the CPAP machine, and that other little piece sort of connects in there. Well, if you connect the hose in a way so that other piece is not actually connected, then the machine thinks that it's not connected. But you want to make sure, if you should do that, make sure that you're putting it in a way so that it's not leaking. But it would think that it's just a basic standard tube. Then you're going to have the ability to adjust the temperature on your own. It's like a little CPAP trick or hack there for you. So Kimberly is in Missouri. I actually don't know a whole lot about the humidity. What are the typical humidity levels in Missouri, Kimberly? And hi, okay, we got somebody new here. This is Candidly Kimberly. What a cool name, I like that. I am a brand new CPAP user, currently waiting for a full face mask as I am a terrible mouth breather. So the nose pillow isn't working and I'm having to tape my mouth closed. So it is important that there's not any air leaking out your mouth. Obviously, we're trying to get air pressure right here in this area to keep that open. And if you're leaking it all out of your mouth, then obviously that's not going to work. So I have heard a lot about people using tape in special ways. So I would just say, study up on that and make sure that you're doing it in a very safe way, in the proper way, using the proper tape. I wouldn't use like duct tape, for example, but there's certain ways to do it that I think you should research. Hopefully, Kimberly Cannon, thank you for being here with us. Really appreciate it. By the way, I am not here to try to treat anybody, not trying to diagnose anyone. I'm just a guy from Alabama that set up a lot of CPAP, trying to give some free advice. So just want to be sure you know that. So we're going to have some coffee later, according to Sonia. By the way, y'all notice my name, and my name is Ogwen, O''. That's not a joke. That's really my name. And happy St. Patty's Day tomorrow to everyone. We've got, I think I have something green to wear. I'm not real sure. So Kimberly, you're not using the heated hose. That is possibly good. If it's not working for you though, a heated hose could possibly be a better solution where you don't have to make adjustments in your temperature all of the time. All right, so let's get back to the list. So climate is definitely going to affect the settings. We talked about rain out and connect and disconnect the humidifier. Does everyone know how to connect and disconnect their heated humidifier if and when you should desire to do so? If not, let me know. We'll talk about that. And then damaged CPAP. I want to tell y'all, in all of the years that I've been setting up CPAPs, every once in a while somebody comes into the shop and they're like, oh, my CPAP's damaged. I want to tell you, 9 times out of 10, the damage has occurred for one reason, and that is overfilling a water chamber. So I highly recommend when you're going through that process definitely go ahead and pull your chamber out, and then get your CPAP located exactly where you want it to be for the night. Fill up the water chamber in a separate location. People tend to kind of overfill it, or they're looking and water ends up getting into the CPAP machine itself. But once you have it filled up, don't overfill it too. There's going to be a water level line on the side of that little water chamber. Don't overfill it. As a matter of fact, most of the time you can fill it only halfway. For most folks, that's plenty. By the way, you're going to be dumping that water out. You don't want to waste water. So it's good to kind of figure out how much water you are using in a particular night and just use that amount of water. So the next day when you're dumping that water out, pull that water chamber out first, and then, you know, move away from the CPAP machine. These are expensive machines. I know you don't want to damage it. And that is like the actual workings of the CPAP machine outside of water damage is almost rare. I mean, these machines are built to last, and they last a really, really long time. I've seen people use the same machine for 20 years. Of course, that's not a warranty. Most of the time the warranty is like 2 years or something like that. But, you know, if you keep a clean filter in your CPAP machine, keep that taken care of, then there's a good chance you're going to well outlast the warranty for that CPAP machine. It's kind of like changing oil in a car, maintenance on a CPAP machine. Keep that filter clean all the time, and it's likely to last a very, very long time. All right, so let's see here. Candidly, I buy it online specific for CPAP. I didn't realize that my machine had a heated humidifier. I guess it's set too low because it doesn't seem steamy, and I didn't even think about why I have water. Well, it's not necessarily gonna, when you're breathing with the heated humidifier, it's not really gonna feel steamy. And as a matter of fact, most people are not sensitive enough to even tell that there's a temperature there. It's gonna be so close, hopefully this is the goal anyway, to your body temperature, that it's kind of a smooth transition. It's almost like just the air that you would breathe through your nose anyway, and equal to the body temperature or even a little bit lower. So it's not going to be like that. You know how when you're in the South and it's 95 degrees and it's super humid, that's not how the CPAP machine humidity feels at all. It's more of just kind of a normal feeling. In other words, it's not dry is what it is. It's not dry and it's not cold. It's just comfortable. Hopefully that's the goal, and that's what we look for most of the time. So let's see. I see Donald Will. He says that you were a mouth breather. I was a mouth breather as well, and used a stretchy headband over my head and under my chin. And in 2 weeks, that solved the problem. Yes, that's good. I tell people this. Sometimes they don't believe me, but a lot of times, even though you're a mouth breather, when you have the sleep apnea, once you get your CPAP machine, that can go away, especially with sort of retraining your mouth on how to be when you're sleeping. Doesn't happen for everyone. Some people have to go with the full face mask over the nose and mouth, but oftentimes just sort of retraining your mouth in the sleep position works. So you may only have to use the chin strap like Donald, for a short amount of time, and then voila, you're able to just go with the nasal CPAP mask. So that's why I tell many people who come home after a sleep study and their first and only mask has always been over nose and mouth, perhaps try just a nasal one. They're a lot more comfortable. And if you can get away with using it and your mouth stay closed while you're sleeping, it's definitely a better thing. All right. So if you're having problems with dry mouth, we talked about this a little bit last Tuesday night. Dry mouth is a real common problem. And I believe that dry mouth is a common problem because leaks are a common problem. So if the mask is leaking, the machine has to try to catch up and drive more air pressure, which increases the flow, which dries your mouth out. So that's one thing. Leaks definitely can cause a dry mouth. If you're using just a nasal mask, either nasal pillows or a nasal mask, and your mouth's coming open, that's definitely going to cause a serious dry mouth. And so if you're having dry mouth problems, then there's a few things that can be done. One is obviously make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. So if you start the night off, you're already somewhat dehydrated from not drinking enough water, then you have a higher potential of developing a dry mouth. Another one is something, I don't know if you've heard of this, it's called Xyla Melts. It's spelled with an X, XYLEMELT. We don't sell these, but you can find them online. And it's just a deal that sort of sticks to the inside of your mouth and between your cheek and gum, and just provides a little bit of moisture all the way through the night. So that's an idea. A glass of water is nice. Just keep a glass of water. Speaking of which, I need a little drink of mine right now. Little glass of water on the bedside table. So if you get up, go to the restroom, drink a little bit of water in the middle of the night. That's super helpful. Mouthwash can be good. Just using some mouthwash before you go to bed. So if you do all of these things, you can really defeat the dry mouth as long as you don't have a leak. So if you have a leak, that is going to be goal number one, priority one. We've got to do something about that leak. Could be a wrong size mask that you've got. Could be it probably is a wrong size mask actually. So okay, this is good. And let's see, I wanted to tell y'all too, let's see, does anybody have sinus problems with using the CPAP? So sometimes if your humidifier is not humidifying enough, it can really dry out your sinuses and just cause like these sinus headaches, etc. And I have discovered something that works really well for me, and that is to mix up my own nasal saline water. So what I do is I make sure I get some non-iodinized salt. Very important is not iodinized salt, because iodinized salt has iodine in it, and I don't want to sniff that up my nose. But non-iodinized salt and some water. You can use distilled water. And what you want to do is 1 cup of water and 1/4 teaspoon of non-iodinized salt. So a cup of water, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, interestingly, is the same mixture as the amount of salt that's in your body. It's 0.09%. And if you have ever done breathing treatments, there's little medical breathing treatments that people do. That's the amount of salt in those breathing treatments too. So it really is nice with your body. Oh, by the way, 0.09% is exactly the same amount of salt. Actually, can somebody tell me, where else can you find that exact mixture of salt in the world? So let's see if anybody's got that out here anywhere. Donald, hate to see you go, but thanks for coming. Take care. All right. So does anybody know where else you would find 0.09% salt water? By the way, I'll give you a hint. There's a whole lot of it, Sonia says the ocean. That's correct. So mixing that up, 1 cup of water, 1/4 teaspoon of non-iodinized salt, and then you can use that with like a neti pot in your nose, or you can actually just wash your hands real well and then cup your hands and pour some of it in and sniff that up your nose. It's super good. It clears out. It's almost like a lavage for the sinuses. It's kind of messy and a little almost nasty, but once you're done and you're cleaned up from it, it's fantastic. So I love it, and it's pretty much free. So that's another little tip for you. So the product of the week, a video that I intend to do tomorrow, is on the Dream Go travel CPAP machine. It comes with or without a heated humidifier. It's a cool little tiny, this CPAP machine is, it's barely like, here's my phone. It's like barely bigger than my phone. It's probably about this much bigger. Actually, I'll show it to you. So if you are subscribed onto our YouTube channel, you'll see the video as soon as we put it out, probably be tomorrow. And if you're on our Facebook page, I'll share it over there on the Facebook page too. So, hey, thank you for being here, but don't go anywhere. I've got something else I want to show you. So let's go through this. I have some discounts that I want to share. First of all, somebody is going to win a $50 gift card if you just simply text the number WIN50 to the number 29071. So I'll leave that up here just for a minute so that you can text that in. You're going to get a coupon for 15% right off the bat. Plus, you'll be entered into a contest, somebody's going to win a $50 gift card from AffinityHM.com. And I also wanted to show you a little something on our website here. What we've been selling a lot of, I think it might be because of the fact that the weather is starting to get warmer. People are starting to think about camping, etc. So I've noticed that we've had a huge uptick in the selling of, where's it at? Right here, the CPAP backup batteries. Now these are designed, I've got a little video on there if you want to check out our website. These batteries are designed for two great purposes. One is that you can connect this battery and leave it in line connected with your CPAP all of the time, so that if the power goes out in your home, it's going to kick over to the battery automatically and back and forth depending if the power is on in your home. So if you have frequent power outages, it's a great idea to have one of these batteries. And then secondly, if you are a camper or you like to fly a lot, you can use a battery on the airplane. They're all FAA approved. If you like camping, or you just need a backup battery, perhaps storms are bad in your area. By the way, I think we've got a huge storm coming to Alabama tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. These batteries can even be recharged using a solar power panel. And all of these batteries are on sale right now. You can get 20% off. Here it is right here, the extra 20% off with this code right here, CPAP20. So I just wanted to share that with you and let you know we do have those available. And let me see, how do I get that off the screen here? Okay, but please do text WIN50 to the number 29071. Here's a discount code for you. It's 15% off. This one gets you 15% off of CPAP cleaners. Also, anything on the whole website. We've got all kinds of stuff on the website. We've got massage things. We've got TENS units. We've got even socks for diabetic socks, which you don't have to be diabetic to wear them, but they're great. We also had, I think you'll like this one a lot. It's 20% off of 3B CPAP mask and those CPAP batteries that I was just telling you about. And my last coupon I want to show you is this one right here. It is for 50% off. It includes the Dream Go travel CPAP machine that I'm going to be showing you very soon. We've got them on sale for 50% off, the Dream Wear CPAP mask and the Dream Station CPAP machine. So that's a huge discount, and wanted to show you that. So let's see if we have any new comments over here. Hey, Andy. Andy thinks that's a great discount. Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. Appreciate it very much. All right. So does anyone have any questions about humidification with your CPAP? How important it is to actually use it? Tricks on how to make sure you don't get that rain out situation, etc. If anyone doesn't have any questions, then I think we might call it. I'm going to give you a minute to ask a question if you like. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. I intend to be back here in 2 weeks, I believe, in 2 weeks on Tuesday night. And if you haven't already signed up for email, I always email everyone the link so that you can join the live. And I will certainly do that again. So go over to our website, sign up on our email thing, and we'll be connected. And I appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for the orders that you've placed. I appreciate that very much too. Hope you all have a wonderful night of sleep. Don't forget, go ahead and comment. Let me know how many years you've been using CPAP, and on a scale from A to F, how things are going. A being awesome, F being not so awesome. I'd love to know that. So I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the evening. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.